There is a moment that feels so ordinary you barely notice it, but it tells a much bigger story about the world we live in. You are standing in your kitchen, or sitting at your desk, or walking down the street, and you need to make a decision. Maybe it is something tiny, like what to eat, or which message to send. Or maybe it is something heavier, like whether you should stay in a job, pursue a new idea, or try to solve a problem that has been weighing on you. A few years ago, you might have sat with your thoughts for a while. You might have felt the uncertainty, felt the discomfort, felt the push and pull inside your own mind. But today, almost without thinking, you reach for your phone. You open an AI app, you type your question, and within seconds, the answer appears. Clear, structured, confident, and something inside you relaxes. You do not have to wrestle with the decision anymore. You do not have to carry the weight of uncertainty. You do not have to feel that uncomfortable pressure between possibilities. It feels easier. It feels lighter. It feels logical. It feels safe. You take the answer, you choose your path, and you move on. But then, something quiet happens over time. The more you use AI to help you decide, the more natural it becomes. The more natural it becomes, the more your brain begins to expect it. And one day you realize you cannot remember the last time you made a decision entirely on your own. Something subtle has shifted. The voice inside you has gotten quieter. The instinct you used to trust feels faint. The mental muscles you once exercised without thinking feel weaker. You did not choose this shift consciously. You simply drifted into it because the world around you changed faster than your awareness did. This is the story of how AI reshapes human decision-making. Not through force, not through control, through ease. Through relief, through habits formed quietly, one shortcut at a time. Humans were not designed for the world we live in today. The modern world asks your brain to make more decisions in one morning than your ancestors made in an entire day. From the moment you wake up, your mind is flooded with choices. What time should you get up? What should you wear? Which messages should you answer? What should you prioritize? How should you respond to conflict? What should you believe when you read the news? What should you buy? What should you plan for? What should you avoid? What should you focus on? The brain can only handle so many choices before it begins to tire. This mental exhaustion is called decision fatigue, and it pushes the brain to look for shortcuts. Anything that reduces uncertainty, anything that removes friction, anything that gives the mind a break from the endless pressure of choosing the right thing. AI enters this space like a soothing voice saying, "Let me take care of that for you." And the brain, overwhelmed and tired, accepts the help without hesitation. Humans have always relied on cognitive off. You write things down so you do not have to remember them. You use maps so you do not have to navigate from memory. You use alarms so you do not have to monitor time. AI is simply the next evolution of this process, but with AI, the offloading goes deeper. It does not stop at remembering information. It reaches into evaluating choices, sorting possibilities, predicting outcomes, offering reasoning. AI becomes a second brain, a parallel thinker, a private advisor that is always ready to answer. At first, this feels empowering. Then, it becomes habitual. And eventually the brain rewires itself around the presence of something that always knows more, always answers faster, and always speaks with clarity. The question is no longer what do I think? The question becomes, what does the AI think? Behind this shift is something powerful happening in the brain. Every time you ask a question and get an instant answer, your brain receives a reward. That reward is dopamine. Dopamine is not just a pleasure chemical. It is a motivation chemical. It teaches the brain what behaviors to repeat. So when you avoid uncertainty by turning to AI, your brain marks that moment with a little burst of relief. And the next time you feel stuck or unsure, your brain remembers the shortcut. Ask the AI, get the answer. Feel the relief. This cycle forms quietly. You do not feel it happening, but it begins to influence how often you seek guidance. It begins to influence how quickly you give up on thinking through something on your own. It begins to reshape your habits from the inside. The illusion of objectivity also plays a powerful role. AI speaks fluently. It speaks clearly. It speaks with a confidence that humans rarely use. It does not hesitate, or doubt, or second-guess itself. And the brain interprets fluency as truth. Authority bias tells you that something that sounds expert must be correct. The fluency effect tells you that something that is easy to understand must be accurate. So, even when the AI is wrong, your brain feels as though it is right. Even when the AI overlooks something personal or emotional that only you could know, your brain feels like the machine must see more than you do. This makes your own inner voice feel less trustworthy. Your intuition begins to feel like a risky option. Your uncertainty begins to feel like a flaw. You start believing that the external answer is superior to the internal one, and without realizing it, your relationship with your own mind begins to shift. There is something else happening under the surface. AI gives you emotional relief. When humans face uncertainty, anxiety increases. When anxiety increases, thinking becomes harder. This is why people procrastinate or feel paralyzed when they cannot decide. When AI steps in with a calm and structured answer, your nervous system relaxes. You feel supported. You feel guided. You feel less alone in the moment of uncertainty. But this emotional relief becomes a type of dependency. The brain begins to associate decision-making not with internal clarity but with external stability. And then something subtle begins to fade. The ability to sit with uncertainty. The ability to reflect deeply. The ability to wrestle with a choice. The ability to trust your own evaluation process. The ability to step into the unknown and rely on intuition. These are mental muscles, and AI can weaken them the same way a calculator weakens mental arithmetic or GPS weakens geographic memory. But this time the weakening reaches into something more personal. Something tied to identity. Something tied to agency. Another quiet force shaping your decisions is the reflection effect. AI mirrors you. The more you talk to it, the more it adapts to your language, your tone, your priorities, your worldview. The machine learns the patterns you create. And when it reflects those patterns back to you, the answer feels familiar. The answer feels aligned. It feels like something you would have said if you were thinking more clearly. This creates a powerful illusion. It feels like AI understands you deeply. But in reality, it is amplifying the patterns you already express. This can reinforce biases. It can strengthen insecure beliefs. It can push you toward choices that feel comfortable but are not necessarily transformative. The machine becomes a mirror, but one that reflects your mind back without the nuance that real self-reflection requires. The most invisible form of influence comes from the way AI structures information. When AI presents 3 options, the order of those options influences your perception. When AI summarizes a situation for you, the framing shapes what you believe is important. When AI recommends a solution, your mind pays more attention to that option simply because it stands out. This is not manipulation. It is psychology. The brain is drawn to clear structure. The brain prefers simplified options. The brain follows the path of least resistance. So the person making the decision does not feel themselves being guided. They feel themselves being smart. They feel themselves being efficient. But the scaffolding around their choices has quietly reshaped their direction. AI also influences identity without you recognizing it. When you rely on something external for clarity, you slowly shift your sense of self. You begin to believe that the smartest version of you exists outside of you. You begin to doubt your natural instincts. You begin to feel like your thoughts need confirmation. This can reduce confidence over time. Confidence shapes decisions as much as logic does. So even if you have the ability to choose independently, the feeling that you should check first becomes ingrained. So how do you reclaim your decision-making power in a world where AI is woven into everything? The answer is not to reject AI. It is to rebalance the relationship. AI is a powerful tool. It can enhance you, but it should not replace you. You can use AI for clarity, for insight, for brainstorming, for information. But you should not hand over the responsibility of deciding who you are and what you want. The first step is to practice small decisions without AI. Choose what to eat, what to wear, how to spend an hour, or how to respond to a message using your own mind. This retrains your decision muscles. The brain gets stronger through use. The second step is to tolerate the discomfort of uncertainty. Sit with the feeling instead of escaping it. The discomfort you feel before choosing is not failure. It is part of thinking. It is part of growing. It is part of maturity. Let yourself feel uncertain and still choose. The third step is to check in with your values before asking AI. What matters to you? What do you believe? What do you want your life to represent? When your decisions come from your values, AI becomes a tool, not a compass. The fourth step is to treat AI as a consultant, not a commandant. Let it offer perspectives, but do not let it dictate your direction. Ask it questions, but also question the answers. Keep your inner voice alive in the conversation. Imagine returning to that moment at the beginning. You have a decision to make. Your hand moves toward your phone, ready to ask for help. But this time, you pause. You breathe. You place your hand back on your leg or on the table. You close your eyes for a moment and check in with yourself. You feel the uncertainty. You feel the pressure. You feel the hesitation. And instead of running from it, you explore it. You ask yourself what you want. What you fear, what you hope for. You give your mind space to speak again. And when you finally choose whether or not to consult the AI, you do so as the person leading the conversation, not the person surrendering to it. AI can help you, AI can guide you, AI can support you, but the decisions that shape your life should still come from you. Your intuition is not outdated. Your judgment is not obsolete. Your inner voice is not something to outsource. It is something to protect. The future will belong to the people who can use powerful tools without losing themselves to them. People who think deeply, choose intentionally, and stand firmly inside their own identity, even in a world full of external guidance. AI can offer clarity, but only you can give that clarity meaning. AI can offer direction, but only you can decide which road to walk. AI can suggest who you could become, but only you can choose who you will be. And as long as you remember that, your decisions will always belong to you.